Right, here I've got an old Reader's Digest book which is going to be perfect to make into a dream journal. The first thing I'm going to do is pull off this frontispiece sheet because I don't need it, and taking a craft knife I'm just going to slit straight in near the spine here. You can just see where there's a separation between the cover and the paper. And there we are. So that's going to let this page block come out quite nicely. I'm going to do the same again here on this side. So again, I'm just going to get into that little bit of separation there and just slice nicely straight down. So there's my page block completely out. Now you see here it didn't actually pull that paper away. That's actually quite useful because this bit here could do with a little bit of reinforcement. I'm just going to tidy this edge. Now if you've decided that you're going to completely recover your book back and front, you may not want this. If this is a really nice piece of paper inside, and some vintage books have some lovely ones, then you might want to keep this little bit. And in any case it's actually a good idea to keep this as a bit of extra reinforcement. So we only want it to go to here. So if I just mark that top and bottom, I can actually get a paper cutter and cut that little bit off. This is approximately in the right place and is slightly over the line. And that's giving me that little piece which can just glue in there beautifully flat, and that's actually a nice inside, so you may not even want to touch it. If you're happy with the cover on the outside, some are beautiful, then all you want to do is paint it, emboss it, stamp it, whatever you want, stitch a bit of fabric on the top, etc. I have to say there are no value in the Reader's Digest books. They are not going to be saved for posterity, so you're quite safe if you see one in a charity shop or a car boot sale, just to rip it apart basically. Now the inside of the book, this is one thing about the Reader's Digest, these are actually almost like a paperback. I tore this one a little bit earlier to be able to see what the inners are like. If you see here, they're actually blocks of pages glued on the edge, then to another sheet of paper. These are constructed very much like a post-it note. They're not stitched in, so if there's a page you want to use, like and it's a picture, then just rip it out, don't worry about it. There's always a use for those, even if it's only for using underneath other things while you're gluing. If you want a nice page, the way to do this, find an old book and make sure it's not a valuable one, and you'll find that in the middle of any signature, so you're looking for a bundle of pages like this, and you want to find the very centre. If you bend back, you should be able to see the string which the book has been sewn with. All the pages in these days were stitched. Can you see here? and hold this up closer, there. This string, this is actually how the book is constructed. Each one of these sections is called a signature, and each signature is actually stitched into the spine, and then also there's some glue on the spine as well. I'm just going to bring this a little closer. So if you can bend the book cover back, you can get a pair of nail scissors and you can just slide under that string and snip. If you're careful when you do this, you can actually pull these pages out virtually as a section, very gently, the first few. These will just lift out and you've got the whole double page and it hasn't ripped. So this is much better than just tearing them out and all you have is that piece. When you've got a double piece like this, it's perfect for junk journaling. You can use these lines again here to maybe sew into a Coptic book or whatever you want to do with it. But if you're only even using it for collage like that, you've got a much bigger area and you've got more choices. And if I bring back this Reader's Digest book, that's actually not a bad size to fit in there. So it gives you a lot more possibilities. So all of these will just lift. You see I've got a whole section here, so I have myself virtually a little book inside a book. I can keep them all together. As you go down, you find that last signature isn't going to want to come out. You've got a load of little knots here, and this is where this little bit at the back is actually glued, and that, as you can see, that does not want to come out, not for any reason. Now if I go ahead and I just carefully stitch along here, I'll try and show you how the inside of this spine actually looks. If you're using a knife like this, don't go too deep because you don't actually want to cut the spine. You want to keep that spine if you can, because you can reuse it. So you see here again, all the books are stitched in, and then this is a bit of linen tape that's been glued over it, and then brown paper. And this is how books used to be bound before paperbacks. So you can see all these signatures, and that was the one we were just working on. And in fact, if you go on a bookbinding site, you see them over tapes, you'll see great big lines here of tape, and they stitch in and out like that, and that's how all the nicer books are made. And of course, if you want old books, they were all made like that because that was how everybody did it. Didn't have any of this PVA and gluing only on the edges nonsense like with the Reader's Digest. So you can see here, this is very, very brittle old glue. But if you wanted to take an entire signature like that, in that case, this is where you would snip your threads, try and support it a little if you can, especially the larger and more fragile ones, and you have the entire thing. And I can actually pull my threads out from the back just using a fingernail. This particular outside page always wants a little bit of cleaning up because of the glue, but apart from that, you've now got yourself a perfect little booklet. And you can see here the old bits of thread, and they've even been pulled away. So there we are, one little straggler. So all of that is beautifully clean and ready for you to use for something else. Right, I hope that's been of use to you and helps you in your junk journal and rebinding efforts. Thank you very much for watching.